This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, and this is an exciting week for us here at Ramsey. We're so thankful you are with us. This is the week we actually launch our very first full-length documentary. And since I had almost nothing to do with it, I feel like a proud grandpa. The only thing I had to do with it is my name is on the side of the building and I paid the people that did it. But I mean, our team did an incredible world-class job on this. I watched it, I was spellbound, and I knew what was going to happen. So you can't miss it. It comes out Thursday. Anywhere great documentaries are seen, including, of course, Apple TV, Google Play, what am I leaving out? I'm leaving out Amazon Prime, of course, yeah. So lots of places that you go to look for good documentaries. You'll see it there. You can watch it at borrowedfuture.com and pay us the money if you want, instead of paying those other people the money. You can rent it, buy it, like anything, like you normally would, a big-time screen. Man, it's a cool thing. I'm so excited about it. And it's really good. It's going to piss some people off, which is our entire goal around here. If you are messing with and hurting people with your process, expect us to be in your grill. And that would include congressmen and senators. That would include members of higher education. That would definitely include Sally freaking May and the deviant Navient. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so on. So there you go. Fun stuff. Yeah, check it out. Borrowed Future. Spread the word for us. We'd love for this to be a huge success, and that way we could do like another one, because we wouldn't have lost our tail on this one. Was that a little too much information? Okay. It's not a great marketing promotion, Dave. 888-825-5225 as we talk to you about your life and your money. This is The Ramsey Show. Rick is with us to start this hour, Wilmington, Delaware. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call, man. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. How can I help?
Hey, so I'm 31. We have no personal debt, and I run a construction business. And we have about, outside of our emergency fund, we have about $50,000 of what I would call investable cash. And what I want to do is I would like to buy a distressed property and fix it and move into a house like that. Now, the issue with that, as far as I'm aware, I don't think that the bank will give me a loan and let me be the GC. I could be mistaken. I figured you know more about that.
Are you a GC?
Yeah, technically.
No,
yeah.
I mean you are licensed as a general contractor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll let you do that. Sure.
Okay. Are you now? What I had understood was the bank, from what I had gathered from conversations, they said you cannot GC your own renovation project.
Oh, sure.
For yourself.
It just depends on. I mean, you just hadn't found the right bank yet. But I mean, some of them might not let you. But the only question they have, at the core of the issue is this: can you do the job? Will you do the job? They don't want to end up with a loan on a half-baked project where you lost your emotional steam and couldn't finish it.
Right.
And so you would need to present like a plan and stuff, like a budget and a schedule and your license showing you know how to do this, and maybe a resume saying I've built this many properties or renovated this many properties or whatever. I've been in the business this long. And so the banker goes, oh, yeah, this guy can do it. How about I've never renovated one. I just passed my license. I really don't even know what a hammer looks like. And I just kind of thought this would be fun. Banker says no loan.
Now, if they say no loan, what are your thoughts on hard money and paying a higher down payment? I mean, theoretically, having more than 50% of the value of the house, but taking hard money, if that was not an option to go through the bank.
Oh, by hard money, you mean an unsecured loan at a high interest rate?
Yes.
Why would you do that when you could do what I just described? How long have you been a GC?
About 6 years.
How many projects have you run?
I've never flipped a house.
That doesn't matter. Have you GC'd anything?
Of course.
How many?
I mean, 100.
Okay. Why can you not sit down and tell a banker that?
I'm coming from. I don't know. I'm just collecting information. I assumed because I had heard people tell me, "Oh, you can't."
Well, people are idiots. Project. You can bank this loan. You can bank this loan, dude. You need to go sit down with your local credit union, talk to the branch manager, but don't go sit down with a dream and a wing and a prayer. Go sit down with a freaking plan, a budget.
Right.
Yeah, a project management process and go, this is how I'm going to go at it. I want to get pre-approved so I can start looking for a fixer-upper. I've got $50K of my own money to put into this thing. I'm looking at a price range of X, and and I'm going to need financing for the rest of it, which we will flip to a permanent mortgage at the end. Oh, and here's my takeout letter or my pre-approval for a takeout letter from the permanent mortgage company. Your local credit union will make this loan all day long if you have an income and have paid taxes on an income and you've done hundreds of projects as a GC. So, no, you're not going to go buy a house on a credit card. That would be dumber than a rock, dude. Don't do that. All right, Landon is in Memphis. Hi, Landon. What's up?
Hey, Dave. I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
So I'm 24, and my wife is 23, and we are about 4 weeks away from paying our house off.
Wow.
And, yeah, appreciate it. We have...
What is your house
worth? About 170.
You are a stud. How did you do that so fast?
Well, and actually, we're going to pay it off in about 10 months once we're done. It'll have taken us 10 months. We started out making about $40,000 a year, and then I opened a small carpentry business, and now we're up to about $280,000 a year. And we just really
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah,
way
exactly.
to go, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it. But my question is that we're so intense with what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We live on about $1,500 a month right now, just because we want our house payment gone that badly. So once we're done with that, I've read Chris Hogan's book and read probably all of the books in your bookstore twice. And all the millionaires that I hear or see say that they went bananas on their investing once their house is paid off. And so I'm just curious, what exactly is that number in terms of ratio to your income of, what is bananas in giving? I mean, what is bananas investing? What is outrageous generosity in ratio to your income? Or what is, really living and having fun with your income and not being out of balance in those categories? Obviously you're not going to invest 100%.
Right. And you're not going to give 100%. You're not going to spend 100%.
Exactly.
So how do we figure that out? So you're on to it, though. You're on to it. Man, you're doing so good. Way to go.
Well, I appreciate
and what a
it.
great question, too. So when we're coaching people who are wealthy and you're almost there, we tell them there's 3 things they can do with money, and you need to do all 3 intentionally. And I don't even care what the percentages are. You need to spend and enjoy some money. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to be generous. And number 3, you need to be investing. You brought all of those up. And so just put a percentage on it. At our house, we're Christians, so we tithe to our local church. And so that's 10%. The government takes 40. That leaves me 50. So when I get in, I got 50 going out before I even burp. And then when the other 50, I need to assign to those 3 categories. Some to investing, some to enjoying, and some to generosity, additional generosity in addition to the tithe. And that's what I've done my whole life since I got my house paid off. And it'll cause you to become very wealthy, happy, and healthy. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
Thank you for joining us, America. This is the Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Cathy is with us in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hi, Cathy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I have been through Financial Peace University a couple times. I've snowballed myself down to mortgage payment and student loan payment. Student loans will be paid off for public loan forgiveness in about 2 years. My mortgage payment is a 3.125% interest. I have about $80,000 left on that. Had to get a different vehicle, and this is kind of where the question starts coming in. So just because of timing and how it worked out and being out of town and no cars available, I had intended to use some of $45,000 I had saved to get a new vehicle. Didn't know how I was going to piece it together, but long story short, what I ended up with was an auto loan of about $41,000 at 3.99% interest, and that was by mistake. I know I can get a better rate than that, so I'm trying to get in to refinance that auto loan. But then my questions come in, is that really, like, what should I do with this $45,000 I have saved? I'm 55. I only have $25,000 in mutual funds for retirement.
What is your household income?
Well, that just jumped. So it was at $56,000, and then in August it went up to $104,000.
Okay. So I guess you're going to have to go back through Financial Peace University. You flunked.
I did with that car thing horribly.
Yeah, you did. And then you just called and asked me how to refinance a car debt and keep the car debt while you have the money in the bank to pay it off. You just did that.
I really want to know what's the best thing to do. Like, I do have the money to pay it off.
You know what the best thing to do is. You went through the class twice.
But then I have nothing, like I don't have...
Because you bought a car you can't afford.
Left. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's one of the things I've been wondering is if I just need
Well,
to...
here's the thing. If you use your $45,000 to become debt-free other than your student loan, which is another problem, by the way, did you know that 2% of the public student loan forgiveness people actually get it forgiven? 98% have not? Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
So I don't have a lot of hope for your plan. How much student loan debt have you got?
There's $69,000 left.
Okay. All right. So
and I did recently check on it.
Now you can do what you want to do, and obviously you regularly do that. So here's what I would tell you to do. Okay? And this is going to be very consistent with everything that I taught you in that class. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to walk the baby steps. You have $100,000 in debt, 40 of it is a car, 69 is a student loan, and you have $45,000 in the bank. You have a car you can't afford. You need to sell your car. You need to take $10,000 of the $45,000 and go buy you a $10,000 car. And then you need to use the rest of the money and pay it on the student loan. And then you need to get on a debt snowball, beans and rice, rice and beans, on a budget where you don't have any life until you get that student loan paid off, because the federal private student loan forgiveness program is an absolute scam. I just gave you the real numbers. 98% are not forgiven. 2% have. That equals a lot of people who bet on the government keeping their word, and they were lied to, and you're one of them. If I woke up in your shoes, I would treat that student loan like it was a cancer, and I would pay it off really, really fast. I would get rid of the car and undo the mistake that I made there. Probably going to write a check to do that. God help you. Little stupid tax check there. And then you move on from there. Now you get that student loan paid off, then you build your emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then you start investing 15% of your household income, which in your case will be $15,000 a year, $16,000 a year, until you get your home paid off. You're going to do all of this by the time you're 60, and then you're probably going to have your house paid off shortly after that if you'll stay on a plan and quit losing your mind and driving the car in the ditch. No pun intended. So, but this is what people do, and we all do it. We all make mistakes. You made a mistake. Now you've got a choice. Are you gonna double down? I'm gonna keep that car. Well, you keep the car. That's fine. It's your decision. You're like a grown woman and stuff. So, but you call me and made the mistake of asking me what I would do, and then I am duty bound to tell you again what I would do. Hey, good luck with it, kiddo. You call me if I can help. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Daniel is on the line in Orlando. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. How can I help?
Me and my wife last month, we're paying off the house this month. So that's end of all debt. We own our own business, and I'm at the end of the lease, and I'm looking to purchase office space.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been discussing, we've made an offer on a property as far as a lease purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And they have come back with owner financing, and I was just wondering if there was other ways that we can take care of this.
Yes, there are. Good. That's a great question. So you're 100% debt-free house and everything?
As of this week.
Way to go, man. Congratulations.
When I cut the check.
Feels pretty dadgum good, doesn't it? So the last thing we want to do is jump back into the fire. We finally got out, all right? Now, here's what I did. I did this exact thing for our business many, many years ago, okay? I didn't have the money to buy the office building that we were moving into. It was worth about $5 million at the time. And I don't borrow money. You probably heard the rumor. So I went to the guy, and he said, well, I'll owner finance it. And I said, fine, here's how I want the terms to work, and these are to your advantage. I want to pay payments for lease exactly like the payments would be with an option to purchase. And the value of the option goes down just like the principal would have gone down. If I don't purchase it, you won't have to foreclose. You still own it. And so I have the option to buy it for 5 years. And during that 5 years, I scratched every nickel out of the corner of the couch, and I bought my first office building for $5 million. At the time I closed on it, keep in mind I did this for 5 years for $5 million. By the time I closed on it, it was worth $12 million. He was crying. He did not want me to close. But I had the written option. So a lease with a sliding price option to purchase is exactly the same numbers as an owner finance, but you are not in debt. You are leasing, and he doesn't have to foreclose if you screw up. He just evicts a tenant that didn't pay their lease on time. And if you don't exercise the option, he's going to have a building that he's got a ton of equity in that he's going to be glad you didn't exercise the option. So it's good for him. It's good for you because you're tying up the property, and you've got a locked-in price that you can buy it at any time during that period of time. And now you got your goal with no payments in the world to start scratching and clawing and come up with money to buy that building. Otherwise, you finance it with a bank, and or you finance it with him, God forbid, and then something like a pandemic or something like that might happen, and you have no revenue coming in, and you can't, and then you get foreclosed on, See, during the pandemic, I was really scared like everybody else was, but one thing I wasn't scared of was foreclosure because I don't have any mortgages, including the building I'm broadcasting from, which is kind of ridiculous. So, but it's just worked out. I mean, you keep doing this stuff 30 years, it works. And that's where we've been doing it because I'm like old and stuff. Hey, man, that's how I would do it. It's a good question, and you've done really well. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. This is The Ramsey Show. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, David and Kristie are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing good,
great.
sir.
Welcome. Good to have you. Where do you live?
We live in Corrington, which is outside of Knoxville.
Yeah, fun. I was born in Maryville.
Oh, sweet.
Right around the corner. Well, welcome, guys. Good to have you.
Nice to be here.
All the way over here to do a debt-free scream. How much did you pay off?
$85,000.
Woo! How long did that take?
It took about 30 months.
Wow. And your range of income during that time?
Kristie and I, when we first got married, I was making 50, and I am up to 80. So we're making close to 100,000 a year.
All right. Very good. Good for you guys. So what kind of debt was the $85,000?
Dave, there was stupid debt like credit cards. I had financed solar panels. We had done some renovations to the house. There was a HELOC. There was a car and cell phones.
Just kind of normal.
Yes, sir.
Just like normal people. Most everybody's that way, right? Normal sucks, though.
It does.
Yeah. So what happened 30 months ago? Started you on this Ramsey journey?
Kristie and I were on our way to the Outer Banks on our honeymoon, and she got to know who Dave Ramsey is there and back.
Oh, my gosh. That's not fair.
Yes,
Your honeymoon trip you put me on?
Yes, sir.
I learned
Dude.
about you on my honeymoon, literally.
Unbelievable.
And
This guy.
Yeah, seriously. So he introduced me to your beliefs and theories and philosophies on how to become debt-free, and I just jumped all in.
Oh, just like that. So you waited until the honeymoon to spring this on her?
Yes, sir.
You never brought it up before?
No.
I don't know if I admire you or I'm scared of you. That's devious. Wow. Good for you guys. How does it feel to be free 2.5 years later?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Feels amazing. We can lay down at night not knowing. We can lay down at night knowing that we don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
If I lose a job, we've got our emergency fund.
Yeah.
Everything's taken care of.
Wow. You guys are in great shape. Good for you. Very well done. I'm proud of you. That's
you.
a cool thing. Very cool. So, what was the hardest part of this for you guys?
We had both been through bad relationships. Kristie was the first person I had combined my money with in years, and
That's hard.
beginning to trust.
Yeah.
We trust each other with our lives.
We both had trust issues.
That
Yeah.
would be normal. Yeah, I mean, you get scars from the other one, and it's hard not to bring that in and make that the new way of doing things. Instead, you forced yourself past that discomfort.
Exactly.
But that was hard.
Very hard, but
Yeah.
it's been well worth it.
Yeah. So, any big fights because of that? Y'all like have a big fight? I mean, Sharon and I do.
No, not really.
Not really. Us putting our money together and sharing, it's been a blessing more than anything.
You know, the weird thing is unless somebody's hiding money, in that case, you actually know more of what's going on, so it increases trust.
Right.
Which is the weird thing, because I actually know what you're doing, you know what I'm doing, because we are doing it, right?
Right.
And so it is an easier way to work through the scars of the past by combining it. But some people, they just can't face the ghosts of Christmas past, so to speak. And you guys were brave enough to do that. Well done.
Thank you.
I allow him to manage all the money, pay the bills like the electric and the water.
But
and
you know what's
what have
going
you.
on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He keeps it on his telephone,
Yeah.
so anytime, he can bring it up and show me exactly what's been paid and what we've got in savings and what we have in checking. And then I have a separate checking that I use for groceries and for our children's things.
Okay. All right.
I have 2 kids from a previous marriage, and he has a daughter in college from a previous marriage.
And we sit down and budget every month, and I sit down and go over what we have, what we're going to do with it.
So everybody knows what's going on?
Yes, sir.
That's the whole
Correct.
thing right there.
Right.
We're
That's the whole thing.
completely honest
Yeah,
with each
and
other.
That actually has the opposite effect. It increases trust, which is the opposite of, the reason people don't do it. And so, very good. Way to go, guys.
Thank you.
Good start for the marriage, too. That's neat. Very, very fun. All right, what advice do you have? Somebody's listening and they go, I just got married. I got trust issues from the former one. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Can you do this if you're not 22? And, can you do this if you're a little bit older than 22 or 25 years old or whatever? What advice do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is for you guys?
You've got to work together. I tell
you have to believe in each other and believe in what you're doing and know that it's for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Higher than just, you're not planning for tomorrow or next week. You're planning for 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with a young man. He's 26. His name's Josh, and I'm constantly we're talking about finances.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he listens, and I think I'm probably got him going toward the Dave Ramsey track.
All right.
I've got a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and he has a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what they got for Christmas last year? Tell them.
They got FPU.
We have infected your whole family.
You have.
And my 11-year-old at the time actually wrote a report on it.
Uh-oh.
And he separated all of his money into the save, the give, and the other spend packet. Yeah.
That's fun. Very good. Well, way to go, you guys. Again, we're very proud of you here. Congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
heroes. You're heroes. You pushed through some difficult stuff. And this stuff is this thing called transformation, changing into something you weren't before. It's a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for the weak of heart. It requires some backbone, and you guys did it. I'm very, very proud of you. Heroes, taking control of your life. Great job. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story to be everyday millionaires. You might already be there. Who knows? And now that you knocked all this out, very cool place to be. And a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give away and infect someone else's honeymoon, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've heard that story, but you were a little bit brutal with that. So, hey, hon, let's go to the Outer Banks and listen to this all the way over there. But it worked out. I love it. Very cool. David and Kristie, Knoxville, Tennessee, $85,000 paid off in 30 months, making 50 all the way up to now 100. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
This is how it is done, boys and girls. This is how it's done. Don't miss that. Very, very cool stuff. Oh, man. There's two sides of this money equation. There's offense and defense. Offense is investing your money well. Defense is getting out of debt. Defense is having the right insurance in place, so once you finally get stuff all lined up, then something happens. You don't have to start over. And so most Americans don't have enough car insurance, as an example. You might be one of them. You get into an accident, you don't have enough insurance, you have to pay for your own car repairs, your own medical bills. Of course, the other driver's car repairs and their medical bills and their passengers' medical bills. It can be thousands and thousands of dollars. You got to have the right car insurance. It's one of the reasons we created the network of endorsed local providers. These are insurance brokers. They don't work for one company. They shop among a bazillion different companies and get you the best possible deal, the best value on the coverage that you actually need, the right amount of coverage, not too much, not too little, but with somebody that actually is working for you. They're shopping for you to get the best deal. You want to learn about that? The average person doing this saves about $700, and it's free to check it out. Doesn't cost a thing to get a quote. Can't argue with free for maybe $700. I'll take free for maybe $700. Text AUTO to 33789 to connect with a Ramsey trusted ELP for car insurance. Text AUTO to 33789. This is The Ramsey Show. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. This is a wonderful American success story, this company. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means even if you mismeasure when you're ordering your window blinds, maybe you're like me, you pick the wrong color. I always do that. They'll remake your window blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with new promos all the time, you save even more. Always use the promo code Ramsey. Our question of the day was, I was listening to the show when you talked about the types of insurance we need. I started looking on your site, and we saw a shield by the provider's names. What does that mean? Well, that's the thing we've just instituted in the last few months. What we figured out was that when I endorse something like a SmartVestor Pro, an ELP, Zander Insurance, Churchill Mortgage, those kinds of companies, which all of those I've endorsed for decades, literally, that really the reason you would go to them is because you trusted me. And you trusted me and you trusted them because I trusted them, and you trusted me to be trusted, right? So it was trusted. So we started calling it Ramsey Trusted. And they put a little shield on these companies if they're Ramsey Trusted. Now, what we do, our team does this, is we will not put a Ramsey Trusted shield on someone unless we've done detailed, in-depth, vetting on these guys, and they're reliable. They line up with our mission. They have to be a quality company that's doing stuff the way we do it in order for us to endorse them and put the Ramsey Trusted shield beside them. And so, like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, except this one actually means something. I'm not saying that one doesn't, but if I am a customer and I'm buying something, the Good Housekeeping seal, I have no idea what that means. I don't know what they did if that window is good housekeeping. It might be that they put it through rigorous testing. I don't know. I'm a consumer, and I don't know that. So I'm telling you what this is. This is a seal that it means that we've done extensive work on that company, with that company, and we trust them. And the rule of thumb that we use around here is, are they reliable enough? Are they competent enough? Do they line up with the advice we give here? Do they have the heart of a teacher? And are they going to take great care of you? Would I send my own best friend there? And if they would, then we put the seal on it. Now, I got to be truthful with y'all. I've been in radio for almost 30 years. In the early days, we were so desperate to sell ads that I endorsed things, not that were evil or bad, but I kind of cringed when I did it because we needed the money. And it wasn't a sellout, but it kind of was. Because it was like, I finally started asking myself, if my friend went over there, would I be okay with that? And I'm like, ooh. And I just don't want that feeling in the back. You know how that's on the back of your tongue when you do something like that? And it's like greedy or whatever you call it. I don't know. It was just short-sighted. And, man, I hit a point early in my career. I mean, probably 25 years ago or something like that I just said, you know what? I don't need money that bad. Even if I need money, I don't need it that bad. Even if we're trying to accomplish some kind of goal, I don't need money that bad. And I don't really care how much money it is. I don't want that feeling that I would send one of you guys who I've never met there. And then if my friend called me, well, Dave, would you really go to that mattress company? And if I went, oh, no, I'd never go over there. I just thought it was just an ad. But I put my voice on it, my reputation, my name on it. Or one of the other Ramsey personalities did. And Ramsey then stood behind that company, and we're going, ooh. See, we don't do that. We just don't do that. That's what the shield means. It's trusted. It means we would send our best friend over there, and we'd send anybody that works here out of our 1,000 team members over there. And so we feel proud to send you over there, not to see perfect people, because I hadn't met any of those, except some of you that bitch all the time. But, and that proves you're not perfect. But there's no perfect people out there, and so there's no perfect companies or perfect experiences. But I am proud to endorse my friend Jeff Zander at Zander Insurance for over 20 plus years, over 25 years, I guess it is now. He's become a personal friend. All of my personal insurance is there. And if you're my best friend and you call me up offline at my house in the evening, Dave, would you really go to Jeff? Saying, yeah, I did. And yeah, you should go over there. It's where you're going to get the best price on your life insurance. Shut up. And they're great people to work with. So, I mean, that's what the little shield thingy means. is like, would you send your friend there? Hey, any of you got a friend that if he tells you or she tells you to go see a movie, it's an automatic, no, I'm not going to that movie because they have no taste in movies? I've got one of those friends. His name is Tom. And if Tom says go to that movie, it's 100% guarantee I'm not going. He sent me to a movie one time called Dude, Where's My Car? This is his taste in movies, which is a classic cult kind of a movie now, I guess, about a couple of stoners who lost their car, right? But this is Tom's taste in movies. So if he sends you there, you don't trust Tom anymore for that. And that's how Ramsey Trusted works. We want to be the opposite of Tom's movie picks. Trustworthy, worthy of trust. Christopher is with us. Christopher is in Duluth, Minnesota. Hi, Christopher. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
All right. So I am a 54-year-old father of 6, ages 7 to 18. We're in baby step 7, but I've got a baby step 5 question.
Cool.
My oldest daughter is a freshman, and she very unexpectedly was rewarded a full ride scholarship.
Wow. Good for her.
Yeah, it was. And my second oldest, he's already enlisted. He graduates early and goes in the military in December.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is
they're paying for it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So we have been very blessed. We have $400,000 in our 529.
Mm-hmm.
We tell the kids, if you earn your first year of school with scholarships or work, we will pay $30 a year the next 3 years. We've met that goal now because of her getting that scholarship. Do I put all that money into a money market? Do I keep it spread across the funds? Next oldest is
she got a free ride for 1 year?
No, for the whole 4 years.
You're going to pay her $30 a year, $30,000?
We were. She paid for her first year of school. She got that money back now. We were going to give her $30 a year for the other 3 years, like to help her with tuition, right? I mean,
she doesn't need tuition. She got a free ride. I'm confused.
Right. So
what are you doing with the $30 a year now?
It's in this 529.
I know, but what was your plan to do with it now that she got a free ride? You don't have to give her $30 a year. You're planning to give it to her anyway?
No, it's going to go to her brothers and sisters. So that's the deal with,
Okay.
So she doesn't get any of that. She's on her own, sort of on her own, and we'll kind of help her, but she's on her own now because she got the scholarship.
Okay. And so your only question is how to distribute it, whether you move it to money market or whether you leave it invested.
Right.
I would leave it invested. Leave it invested.
Leave it invested. Okay.
Yeah, because the difference is substantial. Even if the investments do poorly, they're still going to be 4 or 5x what that money market's going to be.
Okay.
Unless they went down. I mean, they just they could go down. Who knows?
Because our next child is 14. I'm just worried. Well, if there's a downturn, then we'd be below. Because we have 3 of the next 4 are 1 year apart.
Yeah, but before there's a down, I mean, it would have to be a substantial downturn to mess you up, and an extended and substantial, like go in half and stay down 5 years.
Okay.
Which would be like there's only 2 times in history that's happened in the United States. Okay, so I'm not worried about that one. Now, I don't think this affects your plan. But just for clarification for those listening, like in the case of your daughter, if you get the paperwork from the school showing the value of the scholarship, you are allowed to remove that much from the 529 tax-free and turn that in on your you have to file out a form with your tax return, but you're allowed to remove that much. Say she got a $13,000 scholarship for tuition for the year. You can take $13,000 out with no taxes and no penalties. But you need to pair it up with the paperwork in case of an audit and make sure everything's taken care of. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Kristie Wright, Ramsey personality, two-time #1 best-selling author, is my co-host this hour. If you want your question answered, call in. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Her new book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, debuted #1 on the bestseller list. Way to go, Kristie.
Thank
Excellent
you.
job.
So exciting, yeah.
Proud of you, proud of our team, the hard work they did on the marketing, but the book is excellent. Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance is really important. This is a big week for the Business Boutique brand, your first #1 bestseller. We've got a whole group of over 1,000, almost 2,000 people coming into Nashville for the Business Boutique Conference live, and we're live streaming it.
That's right.
And you're going to let me speak this year.
You say that every year.
Thank you.
I'm very generous like that.
You are. You're generous that way. You're just kind, and with the conference that I own, you let me come. I appreciate
no one's
that.
fallen for that for 1 second. Everybody knows better every time you say that.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. It is. They come in Thursday night.
Yep.
And then Friday and Saturday all day.
Yep.
And I'll be on stage, I understand, on Friday.
Yep.
And it is quite a lineup of speakers, and we've still got some seats left.
It is, and it's one of those things where every single year we raise the bar. Every single year we look at the survey results from the year before. We always want to hit on the topics that people struggle with the most. So when we talk about managing the money in your business, selling, how to sell without feeling slimy or wanting to, annoy people, that's not what it is. We teach them how to sell with confidence. We talk about marketing, social media. We talk about pushing past your fear, because that's such a big piece of any of this stuff. Having the time, making the time to work on your business, and having a plan. So these are the main buckets that we hit every year, but we hit it with new speakers from new angles. We keep the content fresh, but every single time we have a lot of fun, and you leave fired up to go chase your business. Yeah.
People come in kind of looking around, unsure, and by the time they leave, they are jacked.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they've got not only the information, but the inspiration. So Dr. John Deloney speaking, of course. Our friend Manit Chauhan. If you guys don't know Manit, she's a local restaurateur that's often on the Food Channel.
Yep.
You see her on there all the time. She owns a bunch of restaurants in this area. An incredible entrepreneur. Incredible
story.
lady.
Yeah.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so she'll be a great addition. Jasmine Starr will be with us, Nona Jones, and Bianca Olthoff.
Yep.
So what are Nona and Bianca speaking on?
So Bianca is a faith-based speaker. We always like to have one session that is just highly inspirational, biblical truths. She'll be on Thursday night with me, and I've actually never met her, but know of her. We run in the same circles, and women of the kind of Christian Bible teacher circle with TBN, that type of thing. And so she's amazing. And then Nona Jones has a really cool story. She is she's got a story of past trauma, and she helps people overcome trauma, pursue success, and she has some really cool teaching specifically on working from the inside out. So working on your thoughts, controlling your thoughts, the power of your mind, and so on, and then working that out in your actions in your day-to-day. So she's also, by the way, an expert on social media, and so she has pioneered the church division at Facebook, and so she's going to share some social media teaching as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. The Business Boutique Conference, equipping women to make money doing what they love. So there'll be mainly ladies there, and certainly anybody's welcome. It's a 3-day event this coming weekend, just a few days away here in Nashville. Tickets are just $119. If you want the event passes, you can do the live stream as well. If you want more information, text boutique to 33789. Text boutique to 33789. We'd love to have you here in Nashville. Nashville's a great place to visit anyway, but this is an incredible conference, and you don't want to miss out on this. Again, just a few tickets left, but we can still get you in. I know a guy. John's in Chattanooga. Hey, John, welcome to the Ramsey Show. How can Kristie and I help?
Hey, Dave. Good to thank you for taking my call. How you guys doing?
Great, man. What's up?
So I just recently bought a primary residence. I've been kind of doing the investing bit myself about a year now. So far, so good. It's been great. I've been using the same home inspector. He's been very thorough. He's always been very helpful and informative whenever I go with him, showing me this or, teach me more here and there. So with this house, everything was good and everything. So day one, when I first, finally closed and we moved in, day one, I knew there was something wrong with the HVAC system. And, I was reaching out to the realtor just to be like, hey, do we hear anything? Was there any, I know despite seller's disclosure, but, so actually had an internet guys what found the problem. And then I've had different AC companies come in, and they were telling me that, the words they used to describe the oversight of the ductwork was catastrophic. Was he blindfolded? Did he even go underneath the house? And, to the point of each quote that I got to even fix the HVAC system is a pretty significant cost.
How much?
Well, I understand there's a difference between efficient working and like repairing what needs to be done, but we're talking maybe $8,000 to $10,000 on the good side, not including the insulation issues.
That he missed $8,000 to $10,000 worth of ductwork that was not plugged in and not done right.
Just in ruins and just.
How many different estimates have you gotten?
Estimates?
Yeah, for fixing the ductwork.
3 estimates for the ductwork, and I had 2 for the insulation, all kind of being the climate control issue.
Insulation of the house or the insulation of the ductwork?
Insulation of the house.
Okay. How much for the ductwork?
Ductwork, we're looking at about $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay.
And to that point,
and you want to spend $5,000 on insulation on your house? How big a house is this?
Not insulation. No, not insulation. That's just for the ductwork. The insulation was about $2,500.
That's not $8,000. 3 and 2 is 5.
3 and 2 is 5. The different AC companies, and they all remarkably said the same thing. The unit's too small for the house, but because the house was originally made as a barn and been added to it, so the floor levels are different as far as like underneath the house.
Okay, do you think this guy was smoking dope, or do you think he intentionally ripped you off, or do you think he just made an honest mistake?
Out of referrals and just kind of networking, my understanding he's still kind of feeling his way, so he could be a little more green. I couldn't presume to say because I'm not.
Did you bring this problem to him?
I did.
What did he say?
Initially, it was great to hear that he was, willing to own up. Very well could have overlooked, and I was like, that's awesome. But, going to the quote, it's kind of like, well, everything was working good, at the time of the inspection and so on and so forth. But, 10 days after living there, the closet right next to the HVAC system was consumed with mold growing into the bedroom right next to it from the, humidity in there. He's just keep kind of splitting hairs a little bit, it seems, and he's more of like, I'm more than happy to consult and, do all this and that, but definitely he's trying to stay away from, as far as lending a hand in the finances for the repairs.
I kind of smell that your heating and air guy's trying to make a sale. I might be wrong, but I think he's added some drama to this. You bought a barn with an air conditioner on it. I might be wrong. I think I'd tread carefully here. I think your feelings are hurt. I'd tread careful. Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. Kristie Wright, #1 best-selling author of the brand new bestseller for her, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, is my co-host today as we take your questions. We were talking with John in Chattanooga. He bought a barn that is converted to a home. The unit, and it's been added onto. The heat and air unit is too small. The ductwork was not connected. There was mold and there was a lack of insulation. His home inspector seemed to have missed this. His heat and air guy asked if the guy was blindfolded when he did the home inspection. Okay, John, here's what's bothering me in this story. Are you with me still?
Okay.
Here's what's bothering me.
Yeah.
Your heating and air guy, who stands to benefit from getting this job, is blowing this up and really running down the other guy, the other trade. If the only way I can get work is to run down the other guy and I can increase the size of my ticket, I no longer trust his voice. His voice is bothering me in this story. Is that fair?
Entirely.
Okay.
Entirely, yeah.
And you had a guy that prior to this you trusted. Now, have you been under there and looked at this stuff?
Yes, I have. And honestly, I'm not an AC guy, but...
I'm not either, but apparently if he wasn't blindfolded, he could have told, according to this other guy, he could have told it wasn't connected, right?
Yeah, I mean, rooms of the house not being connected whatsoever. It's just
how many rooms?
3 rooms.
Okay.
Used to be more, but it was opened up since it's been there for so long.
Okay. So,
I've got a question. So, let's say that he did totally screw up.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any liability?
It would depend on what your contract says with your home inspector as to how much liability he has limited. I mean, and it sounds like he's not a big-time home inspector. Some of them actually carry insurance for errors and omissions that cover cover if they miss something. So I would investigate those two things. That's a good question. Is what does the actual agreement state that he's liable for in the event he misses something like this? Also, find out if he has insurance to cover it. Now, past that, let's get practical. This guy's a small timer. He doesn't have $3,000 or $4,000 to give you.
Of course.
Even if he wanted to. I mean, I don't think you're going to get any money out of it. Huh?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not really wanting any money out of him per se, but we did speak in regards to what contingency could there be if there was oversight, that on his end. He does have insurance to cover it, and of course an inspection of that time. I don't mind to cover the insulation and just everything else I need to take care of, but just inside of it being an oversight, considerable oversight, I was just curious of your guys' thoughts. Should I just go ahead and eat it and just pay for it myself?
Yeah, I mean, if you can get an insurance a check out of his insurance guys, I would, if you really believe he had an oversight. But I don't think this guy is going to give you any money because I don't think he has any money. And I think it's probably the last time you're going to use him as an inspector, right?
Yeah, that's both statements are fair.
Yeah, I'd get the insurance money out of him if I could, because it sounds like he did miss it. If you can get it, I don't know how complicated it is. I've never filed a claim on something like that. So I don't know what it is. But I also am a little bit disturbed. I think your heat and air guy is overstating this and adding some drama trying to make a sale. My guess is you've done some rehabs that you probably can get a good sub in there and get some bat insulation, not bad, and get the thing in, it sounds like some flex duct run to those other rooms and you're probably going to have to upgrade your unit at some point. It's not going to carry the whole thing. So you're going to lose on this transaction. You're going to eat some of it. That's, I don't know a way around that in this situation, because here's the thing I've figured out. And Kristie, this is a good principle for business in general. It's so frustrating when somebody doesn't do their job. But when they're broke, the contract you sign with them actually means almost nothing, because they're only going to abide by the contract to the extent they have the resources to abide by the contract.
Yeah, but they can.
They can't. They don't physically have the money.
Yeah.
And so even if the guy went, my bad.
Yeah.
He's got, if he says my bad and he's got $100,000 in his bank account, write you a check, that's good. But that's not normally the case in something like this. Contracts don't make bad deals good. Contracts don't make bad people good. Contracts don't make incompetent people competent. And so never sign a contract, and this is not what he was doing, by the way. I'm not picking on John, but never sign a contract, because I've done this, and I would go, and then the whole thing would blow up, and I kind of knew it was a bad deal, but I signed a contract, and then I say the dumbest statement. Here's what I would say, and some of you have said this, but I have a contract. As if it had magical powers to make the incompetent competent, the crooked straight.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Contracts don't have magical powers. They just clarify
clarify
what two good, capable people were going to do, that they do. They have communication tool for doing what they say they're going to do. That's all a contract does.
Yeah, it's a false sense of security if you think it's going to fill a gap that can't be filled by a contract, by a piece of paper.
Yeah. Or you get the wonderful opportunity to go into court to try to, and then you're just throwing good money after bad. And I've done that, and I probably will have to do that again in business. Sometimes I have to go before the judge and go, this bozo's doing this, and I can't get him to stop, and and so you gotta do it. But sheesh, it's a no win, because all it does is just cost you money. One people wins the lawyers.
Yeah.
But
well, going back to the heat and air guy, you make a good point too, because I was thinking about this when you were talking about him, and maybe a layer of drama there, of exaggerating, and the whole blindfold comment. When you exaggerate what's going on, even if there are oversights and issues, you lose credibility when you act in this exaggerating, dramatic state. And so...
Wait a minute, that's my job.
Wait a minute, this is what we do for a living. The truth is a suggestion. I like to add a little flair. But no, it's like, so some people in sales are trying to, get a sale. They exaggerate so much that they make the person scared. It's this fear tactic.
Yeah.
And a scared person, even that, it doesn't lead to good deals. It doesn't lead to good decisions. So even if the guy had some valid points, the drama takes away the credibility of him as the person you want to go to. I don't want to go to him even if he's right. I want to go to someone that seems more credible.
Yeah, and they go, gosh, it's a horrible situation. How can I help you solve your problem?
That's exactly right. It says, you know what? He overlooked it. He may have been new. He just a more common sense, level-headed approach to assessing the situation versus this dramatic scene. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I'm afraid you're eating a lot of this, my friend. All of that to say that. Oh, Adrian's with us in Miami. Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Hi, Dave. It is truly an honor to speak with you.
You too. What's up?
So I am currently 20 years old, and I make $50,000 a year. I graduated this summer with an engineering degree, and I have saved up since my whole life about a little less than $60,000.
Wait a minute, your phone is mumbling. Can you speak directly into your mumbling phone?
Yes, sorry about that. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I have saved up a little less than $60,000, and I have been looking to move out of my parents' house, but I live in Miami, and the rents are incredibly high. And so I want to get your opinion on what I should do. I know that you recommend that you find a place with a mortgage or a rent that is less than 25% of your take-home pay, which I haven't been able to find that yet.
How old are you again, Adrian?
20 years old.
Adrian.
You're making $50,000.
You can find something. It may not be in the exact neighborhood you want, maybe with a roommate. You can find, lots of people live on less than you do with a family.
Yeah, so what I've been able to find are like mortgage or rents about like $1,000, and 25% of my take-home pay would be around $700, which is what scares me.
Yeah, so you need to keep looking. You haven't found the right place yet. But Kristie's numbers are exactly right. You do live in an expensive city, and you may have to move out of the city a little bit. You may have a bit of a commute. You may be looking for a garage apartment out back of some rich old lady's house, and you rent the apartment over her garage or something like that. You may be picking up a roommate or three, but you can afford to do this. Maybe your parents' job is to make you a little more uncomfortable. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at BethelTech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman.
Kristie Wright, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Felicia is with us in Louisville. Hey, Felicia, how are you?
Hey, Dave. Good. How are you?
Great. How can we help?
Yeah. So my husband, we just started at FPU very recently. Like, this is our first official month. Really, going all in on it.
Cool.
My question is, we have about $12,000 in debt, and we're doing this all backward because we just started.
Sure.
So we have $12,000 in debt. We do have about $15,000 in savings, though.
Okay.
Should we go ahead? And also, I'm going to be needing a new car very soon. I have 155,000 miles on mine, and
is yours running?
I love to buy. It is. It's an Explorer, and I love it.
But it's just about to lay down. You're afraid.
It is,
cool.
Yes. And we have 3 kiddos, so that's the thing, in car seat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to need something that is full size.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be too cheap, So my question is, should we go ahead and pay off the $12,000 in debt from our savings? And then I'm not taking a car payment or getting a loan for that. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck right now with this.
What's your household income?
My husband just started a new job, but this is in January. So right now he's gross over $100,000, but it's take home about $6,000 a month, and I stay at home with my kiddos.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that feels scary about this, Felicia, is that you want a car soon, but the good news is you don't need a car right now. Right now, you have the savings to pay off that debt, and you're debt free, like today. You could say that's a good income. You could save up. And that car may last. I mean, this is speaking from someone that, I have driven cars into the ground in the past, and it may go a lot longer than you think. You don't need anything right now. You'll have some emergency fund left over anyway. Already your baby step 3, which is your 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. You'll have that started with a few grand. And so if you have a repair you need to make in the next few months when you're saving up, you can cover it, make it last a little longer, and then you can save up and pay cash for another used SUV or whatever you need, but you'll be able to buy it in cash. I think it just feels scary because it's high mileage. But if it's running, it's running.
If one of your kids was sick and you needed money bad to pay the doc, what's the most out of your $6,000 you could save a month if you had to?
Well, we do have an HSA, and we put $50 a week into that.
What does that have to do with what I just asked you?
I don't know. I'm sorry. What is the most we could pay
if
for?
One of your kids. No, I understand because you had an HSA.
You're
okay.
Asking, yeah,
I was trying to use a metaphor, and we got sidetracked into a product.
Sorry.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Okay. Now it does make sense. It was my fault. Okay.
You're okay.
You went straight to the real answer, and I was trying to do. Okay. My point is, out of that $6,000, if you had to, the world came to an end. How much is your house payment?
About $1,300 a month.
Okay, so you could save $3,000 a month if you had to, if you had no payments except a house payment.
Exactly.
Okay, so what I would do is pay off all your debt today, and start saving $3,000 a month until you have an emergency fund, and then keep saving until you have enough money to buy a car in cash.
Okay, my heart just went down to my stomach because I'm excited. Not because I'm scared to do that, but like, I needed to hear
No,
it.
that's good.
Really
you did a good job. You did a good job. You actually
okay.
answered the question. I was trying to be metaphorical, and I screwed it up. So my bad.
No, you're fine.
But see, my point is, with no payments and your newfound intentionality with money, on paper, on purpose, with both you and your husband on the same team, Kristie's answer is exactly correct. That you can save up an emergency fund. If things blow up while you have that emergency fund, before you have the car, then you'd have to use the emergency fund because it'd be an emergency to buy a little better car, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you're going to be just fine because, you said you've got 15, right?
Yes.
So we got 3 there now. Next month we'll have 6. The next month we'd have 9. The next month we'd have 12. That's Christmas.
Okay.
You got $12,000 in the bank at Christmas and no payments in the world. I think your car's going to make it to Christmas.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I just don't be hit that weekend. I'm going, oh, now we have to go.
Yeah.
We'll get a new car. But
Yep. Well, don't turn it into. I got forced into do something stupid because you already put on the table. I'm not doing car payments. You're smart there. That was wise. So you got this, got the right track. And so if buying a car becomes an emergency, slow down, breathe just a little bit. But if you can fix the old one for $500 and get another 6 months out of it, do that too. Because I want you to save up and pay cash for a $10,000 car and still have $12,000 in your account and still have no payments.
Okay.
And that's April.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can do this.
I think you'll last till April.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
So, hey, thanks for the call. It's a really good question. So, what happened there?
Well, I was actually going to ask you a follow-up question to that because I think that sometimes and I've heard this on the Ramsey Show several times, people call in and they say, well, this is my situation, so should I either pause the baby steps or leave this extra money in savings and there's only a couple scenarios that you say to do that. So when you're expecting, I remember we talked about this last year in the pandemic, someone had lost their job or were thinking they were going to lose their job. Will you unpack that really quickly? What are the scenarios where we say, let's pause the baby steps, stockpile cash because of this unique circumstance? All other circumstances, like for example, 150,000 miles on your car, I'm like, oh, in my mind, because I'm like old school. Like,
it's only half worn out.
Like that car. You could have a few years in that car. You're good.
Put some new tires on it, get some of that fresher smell stuff, and you'll right down there at Walmart, aisle 3. You'll be good.
I'm telling you, my 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee, that thing smelled like a go-kart.
It smelled like a goat. Because you had actual goats in it, Kristie.
That's a fact. And that's actually a fact.
That's gross. The goat mobile.
I didn't
You're
have
the goat lady. I never knew that.
I did not have a trailer, Dave.
I know, but you were the goat lady. I have a #1 best-selling author formerly known as the goat lady.
I mean, I feel like that's my next stage of my brand. Like, I feel like
we may have a marketing breakthrough right here on the air.
There's so many people that know those old farm stories, and they're like, oh, the fainting goat. Tell the fainting goat story.
But back to your question.
Anyway, talk about the scenarios in which, like, 150,000 miles is not one of them. Let's talk about the scenarios where you would say, yes, let's stockpile cash in this scenario.
Facts are what we deal with, not feelings. Mm-hmm. The feeling is, in her case, and she was being very logical about it, by the way. She did a really good job.
With 3 kids,
her
too.
critical thinking skills were right there.
Yes.
But what this is the feeling is this car's going to go out at any moment. The insecurity of driving an older car with 3 little kids.
That's right.
That's a feeling.
And
it rises up. It rises up, and it grabs you by the throat.
Yes.
It doesn't come from the head down. It comes from the stomach up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when that makes your financial decisions, you're going to be broke your whole life. Mm-hmm. A fact is, the car is in the driveway with smoke coming out from under the hood. It's done. Mm-hmm. That's a different fact.
Right.
Than I'm afraid that it's going to lay down, and it probably will lay down at some time in the future, and we'll just have to put a bullet in it. And so, so what you got to do is go, okay, and the facts are, when we laid the math out, we're not suggesting you drive this 150,000-mile car for 8 years. We're suggesting it for 8 months. Mm-hmm. Because in 8 months, you can, with your newfound tools in Financial Peace University, you can accomplish a ton of goals and get some space behind you. Now, the fact is that if you have a baby on the way and you push pause on your total money makeover baby steps and your financial peace debt snowball, and you quit paying extra on the debt and you pile up cash until baby comes and mommy comes home from the hospital with baby, everybody's in good shape, no troubles, then we take all that cash except $1,000 and we restart. All you lost was the interest on that amount of money. Now, I might lose my job in the future. Is everyone?
Right. Yep.
Everyone might lose their job in the future. Not me, I work for the government. You might lose your job in the future. I'm just saying. You could lose your job in the future. That is a universal worry. Now, that is not a fact. That's a feeling. It is a fact, but it's the probability of it. They just announced that we're all going to be laid off in 4 weeks. That's a fact.
Right.
You stop everything and you get ready. But I'm kind of worried about this because of the pandemic and people around, and I just generally worry about a lot of stuff. And no, that's not a fact. That's a feeling. You don't stop on that. You plow through. So facts and feelings help you decide whether to stop or not.
Yep.
This is The Ramsey Show. Kristie Wright, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Her book, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance, debuted a couple of weeks ago as a #1 bestseller, her second #1 bestseller. This coming weekend, we have the Business Boutique Conference. Be just under a couple thousand folks there. There's a couple seats available if you still want to come. You can text...
Boutique to 33789.
Text boutique to 33789. There it is right in front of me. And we'd love to have you. I'll be speaking. Kristie, Dr. John Deloney, and several other keynote ladies that are just absolutely incredible. It is the Business Boutique Conference, equipping women to make money doing what they love. I think this is our 5th one or 6th.
Well, if you count the one days, I mean, we're at like 16.
Oh,
Isn't
my
that crazy?
goodness.
Yeah, because remember there for the first couple of years we did all over the country. So fall of 2015 was the first fall event.
Okay.
But we've done about 15 or 16.
All right, so this is the 6th one of those.
Yep.
Then the big event.
fall one. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Wow. And it's been very, very popular, obviously, so we've continued to do them. And, hey, if you want to visit Nashville, ladies, this is a good excuse for you to come down here. You will come in not knowing how to do things and leave completely equipped. It's a pretty incredible conference. So, again, text boutique to 33789. And I don't want to miss out on mentioning the calendar because we haven't got many left, do we?
Yeah, the goal planner. So the 2022 goal planner. We launch at this time of year because that's when most people buy their planners for the following. Starts in January, but it does sell out every year. I always remind people when I talk about it this year, last year it sold out earlier than ever before. It sold out like beginning of December, but it was too late to do a reorder. And so, yeah, if you're wanting this for Christmas, shipping's been weird across the country. Go ahead and get your copy for a gift or whatever you're thinking to make sure you don't miss out.
The goal planner does what?
This is your calendar, but it's also your tool for setting and keeping your goals. So you've got monthly teaching, you've got templates to help you put that teaching into practice, journal questions, and then, of course, calendar, to-do list, all the things to keep you organized. But I think the most important part of it is the fact that we carry goals through the year. So in April and in August, you're revisiting those goals, saying, are they right? Do we need to change something about them? Has something in your life or your season changed? So it's a great companion to help you stay on track and do what you say you want to do.
All the way through. Yep. And we sell tens of thousands of them every year, and honestly, these shortages and everything else are giving us fits in the publishing side, but we've got them. The chances, used to we could just reorder with 5 days or something. This year, not a chance.
Yeah.
So when they're gone, they're probably gone.
Yeah.
Unless we just strike a little gold rush thing or something, but I doubt it. So you need to get that while you got the chance. Doug is with us in Kansas. Hi, Doug. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Hey, quick question for you. So me and my wife are on baby step number 2, and we're having a baby that's due in January.
Yay!
Congratulations.
And, well, thank you. So my question is, I hear you guys talk about it, and I don't know if I've missed it a time or two, but to go in the stork mode, and that's what we're kind of doing right now. But my question is, I'm just trying to plan for it, but when do you no longer do stork mode and then you go back on to hitting it hard?
Yeah, we were just talking about this literally right before the break, Doug. The idea is while you're expecting, you can pause your baby steps, stockpile some cash, so you've got some extra savings, just for all the, any unexpected complications, which we hope and pray doesn't happen. But if it does, you've got some savings there. Then once your wife and the baby are home safely and all of that good stuff, a month or 2 months in, you start, everybody's home safe, you're all settled, you go ahead and get back into those baby steps. And I think the biggest thing I hear from people when they call, when they're expecting, is just this unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of how much is a baby going to cost? How many diapers is it going to cost? You just make this a line item in your budget. The things you're not currently purchasing, like diapers, for example, you begin to budget for. And so it's not as scary and unpredictable as it seems when you are a new parent or becoming a new parent, but you begin to plan for it. And so, just a couple months, a month, month,
and then get back at it. This is your first baby, isn't it?
No, this is actually my second. It's a boy. My first was my daughter. Unfortunately, we had a crisis, and last year, November, she passed away. She was stillborn.
Oh my God!
Oh, Doug, I'm so sorry.
Well, thank you.
Well,
yeah,
let me just tell
very
you.
Rough.
So you asking this question about not knowing how to be secure in this situation with what you've been through means you're a good human. Because you got a lot of raw nerves here, man. You got a lot of, I can't breathe, and it wasn't even my situation just talking to you. So, and so if you want to stay in stork mode a little bit longer, but you probably mathematically don't need to, but I think we can set aside the idea that emotionally you might want to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, because stuff scares you more than.
Yep.
Stuff scares you more than. Yeah. Maybe otherwise would have in this situation. So, oh man, what a deal to go through. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the new one.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you.
So it's the best of times and the worst of times all at the same time. It's kind of hard to figure out, right?
Oh yeah, very excited.
Yeah. And so, given the tragedy that you all have been through, if you want to hunker down, have a little more cash for a little while, just as a medication for a little bit, and normally I'd say 1 month, but if you want to make it 3, that's not the end of the world. If you want to make it 30, you probably need to think about who you're talking to as a counselor about walking through your grief then.
Okay, can I ask another quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so she's wanting to take off her 12 weeks for maternity leave, which is 100%, we both agree, let's do it. We have money saved aside for that here in a few weeks. We'll have about $8,000 to cover her side of expenses and whatnot. So once she's back at work and things, should we start then, or should we go another?
Good. That sounds really good.
Okay.
And you don't have to spend the $8,000 unless you have to have it to eat while she's not working.
Yeah, no, I think we're okay with that.
Yeah, just let that sit there, and then, ride the 12 weeks. That sounds like a good number. Give yourself a little grace.
Yes.
A little room, because of what you all have been through. Give yourself a little wiggle room emotionally here, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what money's for, by the way, is to give you a little margin, so the edges on everything aren't quite as rough. Money won't solve it for sure, not even close. But it gives you the ability to worry about the right things instead of the wrong things.
Yeah, that peace of mind. I mean, that was such a traumatic event, Doug. And so if that needs to look different for you, I love how you said that, Dave. Just give yourself grace as you're walking through this and all the emotions associated with it. Yeah.
So one of the things you got to remember, like sometimes we talk about, do I sell Mom's house after Mom passed away? Do I keep the farm after Dad passed away? Do I keep his old pickup truck? Do I, what do I do with the wedding ring from my first marriage that I has bad memories of, right? That kind of thing. All of these things are there's a reason we call it personal finance. The mistake that people make in the personal financial world is they only do finance, but there's also personal.
Yeah.
And Doug's situation, it's a very personal, hard, unbelievably hard thing they are going through, have been through. And does that affect then the situation? It should affect it. If you're a human.
Yeah.
Humans hurt. And so you just got to factor that in to your equation. Now, what you do want to guard against is that becomes your new definition of who you are. And that's what I said, 3 months is great. 30 months now, we're not walking our way through. We're just sitting in.
Yeah.
And so you need to be walking through the bad stuff, not staying.
Yeah.
And but give yourself the wiggle room to hurt.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the equation, sadly, in all our lives.
Yeah.
Kristie, good hour.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Kristie Wright, #1 best-selling author. The Business Boutique Conference is this coming weekend. Text Boutique to 33789. I'd love to see you there. I'll be speaking on Friday. This is The Ramsey Show.
It's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free screen live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. This is a special edition of The Ramsey Show. It is an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. What is Entree Leadership? Well, it's a combination of entrepreneurship and leadership. I wrote a book 10 years ago this month called Entree Leadership that became a #1 New York Times bestseller. And it says on the cover, 20 years of practical business wisdom from the trenches. We should have changed the cover because now it's 30. So there you go. So this is our playbook on how we've grown Ramsey, how we run Ramsey, why Ramsey is always winning the awards around best place to work, why our culture is so well known. It's such a great place to work. Our team is incredible. We're so proud of them. And gosh, it is answering the questions for businesses of how do you run a business. So if that's your deal, you got a question about business, you got a question about the financial part of it, fine. The management part of it, fine. The production of an idea, fine. Maybe you got a success story. Maybe you did something right out there in the world of business. We've been teaching and leading thousands, tens of thousands of small businesses for about a decade, and it is a large part of what Ramsey does. I love small business. It is the backbone of America. Did you know that 75% of the new jobs created in the past 10 years have been by small businesses, not by big companies? Most Americans work for a small business. Small business is one of the things we call the great American dream. Home ownership, small business, building wealth. These are the great American dreams. Do you have to own a business? No, you don't. But side hustle and hustle, capitalistic idea that if I serve someone, they pay me money and they give me certificates of appreciation with presidents' faces on them because I did a good job for them. That's business. You're thankful when you do business with a good small business because they do a good job for you. They take care of you. They cause our lives to be better. The people that run these things, it's a big deal. So if you're one of those folks or you want to be, you got questions about starting one, or you're talking about hiring people, even firing people, how do we do all of that at Ramsey? Well, I'll talk it through with you. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225, an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. And, of course, you can learn all about what we do with small businesses at RamseySolutions.com and just click on Entree Leadership, and we'll take good care of you. Rick is in Pensacola. Hi, Rick. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dave. Huge fan, man. I've been a fan for you for 15 years.
Wow.
My son's name is even Dave.
Wow.
Dude, I named my dad and my father-in-law after you. All kinds of Daves. This is awesome. Huge fan. Thank you.
That's tricky on your part, brother. How can I help?
Yeah. Well, my wife and I disagree on something, so I'm just so excited to see what you have to say. We own a successful business for 4 years now, and God has blessed it, dude, abundantly. We have at least a 5-year business plan yet, and I want to put every dollar back into the business. She wants to invest it in other places like an IRA, and I say why when they're doing so much better with her own stock. So pretty much she wants to invest in the stock market. I want to invest in livestock.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what kind of business are you in?
Actually, we're in the zoo business. We own a zoo, Dave. We literally collect monkeys and have them on our desk. That's what we do.
That's fabulous. So this is a private zoo that the public pays admission to come see?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, and so investing in exotic animals in this case, in order to expand the offering of the zoo, would be what you're trying to do, right?
Yes. Building more buildings, building a new gift shop, building a vet thing, like all kinds of building in it. And I want to put every dollar back into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But she wants security in something else.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're killing it, Dave. We're blessed.
Yeah,
why?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, here's the deal. If you put $20,000 in a retirement plan in good growth stock mutual funds, if that breaks your business and keeps you from expanding, you're not killing it.
Right.
You should still have money to expand with.
And we do.
Okay.
But if I could put that same $20,000, like I literally just did a couple weeks ago, into a tortoise that is worth over $100,000, that's where.
Yeah, that's an asset on the books, and it should increase cash flow, assuming people will pay. More people will come because you have the tortoise, or whatever. Your revenues at the gate go up and so forth. I don't know how that works, but I suspect that's how it works. So, So she's right. You're wrong. You lose the argument. But here's why. I did the same thing. Our businesses are like owning a single stock. We're putting all of our money in one single stock when we don't have any side investments. And her security alarms are going off because that's not very secure. And so it is something that we all do in small business if we're not careful, because we love our business. And because on a mutual fund, you may make 10 or 12, or if it goes crazy, 15%. On an investment inside a small business, you might make 100% or even 200%. And so it's really mathematically weird. But what we're not factoring in, because you and I have our hands on the driver's and on the steering wheel of this business, we don't factor in risk because we think since we're driving, it's going to be okay.
Right.
And so, but here's the thing. The other thing, that it sets you up for a succession plan someday. Someday, someone may want to run the zoo that's not you, like one of your kids or something. And
absolutely, and they want to.
Yeah, and if you had $2 million in mutual funds and didn't need the money from the zoo, and it wasn't your only asset and your only place to retire, then it changes your deal when you hand off stuff to the kids.
Okay.
So if and when I don't work anymore, which is not really a plan, but if that ever happened and I had no income from this place as a result, the kiddos will be owning the place because we manage it for God. They're going to get the opportunity to manage it for God. They're not paying a dime for it. They're just going to take it because I've got hundreds of millions of dollars of other investments outside of here in real estate and in mutual funds, and so I'm more than okay. Oh, by the way, if I die tomorrow, Sharon doesn't get this place. She's got all those assets, and the kids are going to run this place.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm able to do that because I didn't only invest here. And it sets you up for a future there, and it lowers the risk. And here's the other thing. Proverbs 31 says, and guys, this is a great rule of thumb in business. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain. Assuming your wife is not just nagging, assuming she's virtuous, assuming she doesn't think she's the Holy Spirit, then you should listen to her, because you will have no lack of gain. I'm convinced it's one of my secrets.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
It's an Entree Leadership Theme Hour as we talk with small business people, the best of the best across America. The free enterprise system is alive and well in spite of the level of taxation we have to operate in spite of the interfering level of regulatory control we have to operate in spite of all of that, small business is thriving. Not because of it, but in spite of it. Because if you want scrappy, you look up small business in the dictionary and you see a picture of scrappy. That's what it's all about. So Entree Leadership is the brand we use here, where we walk with and beside and coach and teach and work with small business people all across America, for that matter, all the way around the world. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Nicole is in Traverse City, Michigan. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I'm just wondering, is it a good time to take my home bakery business and move it into a commercial space as a bakery and breakfast and lunch cafe during like this economy and this weird like times that we're going through?
I think the answer to that might be more local than not.
Okay.
Translation. I live in a county in Tennessee that is wide open, and there's very little activity in this county that is in any way restricted at this moment. And it's a fairly pre-pandemic looking feeling when you walk down the street or when you go into a store. Okay? Other areas of the country that I visit, I was in 5 states in the last few months, or in the last 15 days, I guess, something like that. And I've been in several states that I felt like I was back in the middle of the pandemic again, because they're very shut down and very closed up and very there. And that environment is going to be difficult to operate a bakery in. Agreed? And I know Traverse City, it's a wonderful city, and I suspect you guys are pretty wide open. It's a resort area, and my friend Meg Meeker lives there, and you know, it's a great area, and so I suspect the city itself is probably pretty open. You are in the state of Michigan, which is cray-cray right now, but on this issue. But that's the environment you have to ask yourself this question in, right?
Yeah.
So if the governor leaves you alone, is Traverse City going to leave you alone and let you operate?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like everything's been pretty open around here, and that's been the general route that we seem to be headed towards.
Yeah. But I mean, again, if every time there's a spike in cases, they shut down businesses like yours. This is a bad environment to start in, agreed?
Yes.
Because you're going to burn up capital on rent that is unproductive. You're going to burn up capital on electricity. You're going to lose stock because you can't get it baked and out the door. And you can't get workers. And that kind of stuff. So, but if you can operate fairly freely, maybe not 100%, but 80 or 90% with freedom to have a, quote, normalized operation, unquote, that gives you a predictable environment to do business in. And when you interfere with a predictable environment, it makes it difficult to do business. That's what politicians don't understand. So it affects jobs, it affects supply routes, it affects everything when they screw with it. But they're dumb and they don't know these things. So you just have to laugh and shake your head at them. But that, so to the extent you feel like that freedom is they're going to stay off of you and let you operate, is to the extent, yes, now is a very good time. Because everything that is open is booming. And so we've got shortages of everything because everything that's open is booming anywhere in America. And so it just depends on the environment that you're sitting in and, how messed up they are. And how, it's fear-based, and I mean, they're afraid, and I understand they're afraid. I get that, and they don't want somebody hurt. Nobody wants anybody to be sick. I get all that. That's not the point. But the point is, you've got to have a predictable environment in order to do business. So it's a good question. If you've got that, I think it's a great time. Great time. Jody's with us. Jody is with us in Edmonton, Alberta, with a success story. Tell me about what's going on good, Jody.
So much is going on good, Dave. Sounds like you guys are having a great day down there yourself.
We are.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I heard of EntreLeadership by accident in 2018. I hate to say, I did not know the Dave Ramsey Show, and I didn't know EntreLeadership, and my business was struggling. I didn't even know I was struggling until my wife came on board. And she talked pretty regularly about you, Dave. She talked about you, Patrick Lencioni, different people like that. And I hate to say I just couldn't clue in. I was one of those bullheaded guys. I just thought I was doing everything right because it looked like I was making money on paper, and almost led to a disaster. But thank goodness she told me I should go to the summit that you were having. It was in late April 2019. That was the first time I ever heard you speak.
Oh, wow. Where was that one?
That one was in San Diego, and it was almost a bit of a disaster there too. So she was being very patient and very kind with me, and we got down to the hotel, and we had to miss your hotel. Of course, it was booked, but I didn't understand how those things worked back then. So we walked out the route to walk over the night before. Figured it'd take about a half an hour from the hotel we were staying at. And she said, there's a special event. You might remember that. She said, there's a special event the night before. We got to meet out back of the hotel, and they're going to take us somewhere special. And Dave, I'm so embarrassed to say to this day, I said, you know what, honey, these new TVs in the hotels, I can get Netflix, if you can believe that. And that's the state of mind that I was in, unfortunately. And the next morning we woke up and I was ready to go at 5:30, and my wife said no. And I said, what? And she said, no. She said, you kind of made up your mind, so no, we'll just stay at the hotel. We'll just miss this entire conference. And I got down on my hands and knees. I recognized I was being a fool. And I said, please, honey, I don't even know what I was thinking. Can we please go to this conference? I don't know what it's about, but I would just love to go see what you're all passionate, excited about. So she finally acquiesced, and we got out of bed and went over there. It opened at 8. We got there at 7 when the doors opened because I wanted to make sure I was trying to impress her. That's the thought I had. And I couldn't believe the energy and excitement. And when you bounded on stage, Dave, I tell you, that was a life-changing moment for our business right there. My wife already had it. She had it in her mind because she'd been following you. She'd been reading your literature and your information. Finally, I was able to see what she was so passionate about.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm honored. And so you were doing business well before. You were doing okay, and now you're even doing better.
I got to tell you this. In 2018, it was our highest sales year ever and my worst profit ever because I was chasing my tail. I had people lined up out my door. I was unorganized. My business was unorganized. I had no mission statement. I had no vision statement. We had really nothing except for my technical
So what were your top line sales that year?
$5.2 million.
What will they be this year?
Probably closer to 4, but our profit is higher.
Ah, very good. Very good.
And that's the thing, because she helped through your organization, consistent podcasts, reading, going through your EntreLeadership book. You know, if you even just take the first 3 chapters of your book, Dave, and anyone that's listening, I really hope they pick it up. Just take the first 3 chapters of your book and really commit to that. You can totally transform your business. I was that treadmill operator that you talk about, and I was on that treadmill hard, and it was bad. And I'm glad to say finally at the Pathfinder stage.
Well, I am so happy for you, Jody. Thank you for sharing that story. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I remember the event you missed. We had the aircraft carrier Midway. It's docked there in San Diego. We had the whole aircraft carrier, and we had rock bands and stuff up on the deck, and it was iconic. Sorry you missed it. It was an incredible opening event. Oh, standing on an aircraft carrier with fireworks going off. I mean, what more could any redneck want? Oh my gosh. This is The Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. It's an EntreLeadership theme hour here on the Dave Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. It's a small business theme hour, in other words. We're taking questions from those of you that are running businesses or want to, and questions about any part of the business. That's what we're here to help you with. Luke is with us in Pittsburgh. Hi, Luke. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you, Dave. I don't know if I've ever scripted the beginning of a conversation before in my life until this moment. So I'm a huge fan. You're my spirit animal. All right. Just want to get that out of the way. My question is, so my business right now, we're struggling with employees. And so the easiest way to describe it is I feel like we are set up for double the amount of workers that we can get. Right. So our overhead was designed to be spread out over more people working, that sort of thing. And so I'm trying to figure out I'm hoping the worker situation turns around, but if you make adjustments to reduce overhead and then you're not logistically set up for more workers, how do you find that balance and what do you do in the interim? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Most of us are fighting with that right now. There's approximately 8 million people available for 10 million job offerings at this moment in America. So if you want to work in America, pretty much you are. Right. I mean, if you have reasonable human, interaction skills and you bathe regularly and that kind of stuff, you can get a job right now. So it's kind of ridiculous. And the pay has gone up substantially because people are fighting over labor. And it's driving the price up like a shortage on anything does. Labor is not unlike other things on the supply-demand curve. So that's what you're fighting with. What kind of business have you got, Luke?
It's a landscaping, tree service, and snow removal business.
Okay. All right.
And
what overhead have you picked up?
For example, so from a personal standpoint, I got out of debt back in April 27th. We've been following your plan. And on the business side of things, we've been working through eliminating the debt that we had accumulated there as well. Good. So when I say things like overhead, for example, it's like some of the truck loans we have are spread out over the different teams.
But the trucks are sitting.
One of them at any given day is sitting at the moment. And so we've been using the nicest trucks.
Well, we have. So, for example, my vehicle can hold more than one guy, and then I'll end up driving a trailer by myself because I don't have somebody with me.
Right.
Right. Though that's what I mean. So most of the trucks aren't sitting, but sometimes a lot of the equipment is. We have the equipment to add.
So there's not really any way, unless you've got equipment that's sitting all the time, you could get rid of that. But that's the only way to lower the overhead and then not be prepared when it turns back up, which was your question, right?
That is exactly my dilemma, right? Because anything else we do, like I'd have to restructure.
Are you profitable where you are today?
Some areas of the business are
overall.
Some are not.
Overall.
We're working. As of right now, we're right around break even. We are working through that process as well to get more profitable.
Okay. Yeah, you need it. Well, you're going to have to sell some equipment then, because you have enough equipment not in operation that your lines have crossed and you got into a negative. And then, and so what you do is you just I would take the stuff that would be scheduled for replacement first, the most worn out stuff, and start moving it off the books and use that to reduce debt. And then that'll get you closer to a break even, get you back up above break even. And then you just may have to, what we're having to do on things is we just can't grow as fast as we want to grow.
Right.
Because I just can't get people to do the work. That's all it is. And so I got 300 positions on the books right now, over half of them technology. And programmers and Ruby on Rails folks, all kinds of digital marketing positions. I've got them all over the place, and I'm not by myself. Everybody does. And if you're trying to run a restaurant or trying to run a golf course, God help you. You can't. It's hard to get help. And some of that is the Biden bucks had people sitting on the sidelines, and some of it is the economy is just has spiked post-pandemic, and labor's just run to the highest dollar, which it'll always do, by the way. And so that's the whole process. So I if I'm you, here's in the name of health, business health, I'm going to trim down, and with that goes the admission that when you get the opportunity to grow again, it's probably going to slow down your growth. The only way I'm not doing that is if you think you can fill these seats with some butts in the next 30 to 60 days, and you can hold on that long.
I'm trying some.
I know you're trying, but I'm asking, can you really do it? And it's a very difficult thing you're trying to do. I agree. I get it. But for guys that are go-getters that leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home, the idea of growing slower is really painful.
Yes.
I'm the same way. I was in a meeting this morning going, get this freaking project out the door. What's wrong with you people? And they're like, we can't get it staffed. We need 2 squads to do it right now. And, it's developers and, it's digital marketers. In your case, it's people riding lawnmowers. But it doesn't matter. You just got to get it staffed. And oh, by the way, I have never, in 30 years of running this business, been fully staffed. I've always had more ideas and growth than I could get people. Always been trying to catch a tidal wave with a teacup. So it is the nature of the beast of the small business. And but the hardest thing is to put a bridle in your own mouth and say, I'm going to grow slower so that I stay healthy. I'm going to grow slower so that I stay healthy. The tortoise wins. I just have to repeating that over and over and over to myself. The tortoise always wins, not the hare. The tortoise always wins, not the hare. Rob's in Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, Rob, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
Good. How can I help?
I have 2 boys, 12 years old, 10 years old. They started a lawn mowing business last year. They did really well last year. They did even better this year. They registered their trade name with the state. They did not register an LLC or anything like that. They need liability insurance because Dad doesn't want to foot the bill if something bad happens. And we can't get it because they're minors.
Minors can't contract for anything in any state.
So what do we do?
So they don't own a business. You do. 12-year-olds can't sign for an LLC in Ohio.
They don't have an LLC, but they have a registered trade name.
Yeah, in their name. Whoop-de-doop.
In their names.
Means absolutely nothing, except protects their name. It protects their name, and there's 2 or 3 things going on. You're trying to talk about a business structure and a liability issue and a legal issue in the midst of teaching your sons how to work hard, which is great, and how to run a business, which is great. That's my main concern. if you want to cover the liability, you're going to have to drop it into an LLC in your name, and you're going to have to buy insurance, and you own a business and your sons work for it because they can't contract for anything.
Okay.
That's how you'll have to technically cover it. Then the question just becomes is how much liability do you really have with a couple of teenagers with a lawnmower? Most of the danger is probably to themselves, frankly. But I don't know. I guess they could throw a rock through something, right?
Well, I look at it, if they break a window, hey, we pay for the window. That's not a big deal. But if we throw a rock and we injure somebody, that's a whole different story. And they're growing big enough. They're getting, they're buying bigger equipment. They're doing these things that, are the real deal.
Yeah.
Not just two kids with a lawnmower.
Yeah. Okay. And what is your net worth?
$500,000.
Okay. Do you have $1 million umbrella of liability on you?
I do not.
Okay. You can pick that up for a couple of $100 and talk to your insurance broker when you're doing that if that will cover this issue, because these kids are not liable. You're liable because you're the adult. They're in your custody. You're the custodian. You have to talk to your attorney to verify that I'm right, but I am.
Okay.
And so, your liability umbrella might cover you. If you want to get super careful, you could open an LLC and buy an insurance policy on it. But it's all going to be in your name. But you're liable anyway because they're not. They're in your care. You're responsible for the behavior of your children legally. And so if they mess something up, they don't get sued. You do. And so that is the worry, and it's a valid worry. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 21:21. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. Warren Buffett said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. Agreed. Right now, you're probably focused on all the fall stuff that you've got to buy. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, it's all happening, right? And Christmas seems to sneak up on people like they move it or something. No, Christmas is always there. So you don't need to wait. You don't need to put it on a credit card, for goodness sakes. You need to get on a budget and plan ahead. Keep Christmas from getting out of control. The best way to do that is with our world-class budgeting tool, the app Every Dollar. Start your Christmas budget right now by deciding how much you want to save each month and plug it into your Every Dollar budget so you can pay for Christmas in cash. Then when you start shopping, your Every Dollar app makes it easy to keep up with it and how much you're spending on gifts, and it's totally free. You can upgrade to Ramsey Plus membership and get the premium features like Bank Sync that allows you to drag and drop your transactions right into your budget, and all kinds of custom reports to show you where your money's going. Christmas is coming. It is not a surprise. This year, you can enjoy the holiday stress-free. Start budgeting, and that'll cause it to happen. Use Every Dollar. Text BUDGET to 33789, and we'll set you up. Budget to 33789. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. It is a free call. It is an entree leadership theme hour as we're talking with and about small business. What does it take to run a business in America today and continue to be profitable in all the wildness and craziness we've got out there? It's a wild, wild time out there. And Jason is with us in Montana. Hi, Jason. I see on the screen you got a success story. Tell me about your business.
I do, Dave. How are you doing today?
Better than I deserve, sir. What's up?
Well, I came to entree leadership not knowing who in the world Dave Ramsey was. I stumbled into it through the podcast. Very, very interesting. And since then, this is in early 2018. In early 2018, I had just recently purchased a successful business in telecommunications, and I needed to be able to get something to be able to continue to grow this business and myself. The EntreLeadership podcast was that ticket. To date, I've listened to every published episode of the EntreLeadership podcast, read your book, been to many of your conferences, been to the headquarters, have great relationships with all of the teams. And to give you an idea of how these principles work, applying all of the principles and everything, we continue year over year to grow. We did, first year was 2.3 million. We'll do close to 5 million this year, where we only had projected 4.3.
Wow, that's great.
I have an amazing team, and this is all because we treat people well. We treat people how we want to be treated, and we just garner every single principle. Here recently, I went through a kind of a unique situation. I actually sold a lot of my company to an electric cooperative. In that sale, I continue on as the CEO, and my team was built well enough off the EntreLeadership principles that we have charged right through it. Didn't even show a hiccup. And with that sale, the second half of it is my wife and I get to garner true Ramsey principles, and we are 100% debt-free.
Way to go, dude. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. What a great place to be. So what do you think in the last period of time that you've been working on this business and you've seen these changes, what do you think the one or two most important things you picked up were?
It's absolutely about core values and the right people on the bus.
Yep.
It is we hire around our core values. We teach our core values. We do monthly staff meetings. We communicate with everybody, but it's definitely all about having the right people on the bus to help you charge forward, because we can't do it by ourselves. There's no way to do it by ourselves. And having this team of people has just been absolutely amazing to see what they can do when I step out of the way.
Oh, amen. Amen. Well, congratulations on that. That is a hard thing. Our friend Jim Collins, of course, in the book Good to Great, originated the idea, get the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, the right people on the right seats on the bus is one of the parts of the recipe to having a great, great company. I assume you had some painful exits in order to arrive at this place, though.
Absolutely. There's always people that you have to say, you have to look them in the eye and say, I'm sorry, you can't work here anymore. But everything was done with grace, and therefore there's no hard feelings. We've given everybody absolute opportunity to shine. And when the light doesn't shine, we try to show them the exit as politely as we possibly can. And
Sure.
That has worked for us very well.
Yeah, we're not mad at you. You're just not a we. We do it this way, and you aren't. So you're not a we. And you get to decide if you're going to be a we. There's consequences to not being one. And but yeah, you're right. And teaching the core values regularly. I did our staff meeting this morning with almost 1,100 people here, and I spent 15 minutes on one of our core values and taught on it. And just remind everybody, this is who we are. And if you want to be a we, this is who we are. Decide every day. You get to redecide that, because we don't want folks here that are just working a job. If your spirit leaves this building, you ought to take your body with it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and you've obviously done that kind of stuff as well. And it is difficult. It's painful because sometimes it's folks get angry. Sometimes they don't understand. No matter how careful you are, how polite you are, how generous you are, that they make up lies because they just can't face themselves. and they can't face their own inability to perform on something, and it's just really, really tough. But you still, you look back on, you go, I wouldn't trade the collection of folk I've got right now for the collection of folk I used to have. Not a chance I'm making that trade. So it's worth the pain of doing that and aligning ourselves with, what Ken Coleman teaches, to find people who are functioning in their passion. They're functioning in their sweet spot, as Ken calls it. Jason, very, very good to talk to you. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us. So business principles are not as difficult as some people make them out to be. The idea of running a business, most of it does revolve around the golden rule. And it's not who has the gold makes the rules. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about truly treat other people like you want to be treated. So if you have a website up, go visit your website and go through the experience your customer's going through. And you will find stuff that will frustrate you. Go to one of your locations anonymously and have the experience your customer is having. Sometimes you'll be very proud, and sometimes you'll be very frustrated. Treat other people like you want to be treated. Oh, by the way, that's part of your team's deal too. You pay them on time. You give them the dignity of their personhood while still addressing the behaviors that have to change. This is how this works. It's really not rocket science, but it's hard to do over a long period of time. And that's why so few people succeed over a long period of time in business. But it's doable. An Entree Leadership Theme Hour in the books. Our thanks to James Childs and Kelly Daniels in the booth. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember there is ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.